Welcome back my channel Old Cryptocoin, and new video the Jefferson Nickel is one of the most recognizable and longest running coins in the history of the United States of America. First introduced in 1938, this 5-cent coin replaced the famous Buffalo nickel and has remained in circulation for decades. Designed by sculptor Felix Schlag, the coin features a detailed portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his historic Virginia home, Monticello, on the reverse. While billions of Jefferson nickels have been struck over the years, collectors know that certain dates, mint marks, and rare errors can make some examples surprisingly valuable. In today's video, we're going to explore 4 fascinating Jefferson nickel 5-cent coins that every collector should know about. These coins represent different years, different mint facilities, and unique stories that have made them favorites among numismatists across the world. Our journey begins with the first coin, a classic Jefferson nickel that represents the early years of the series. When this coin entered circulation, America was recovering from the Great Depression, and new coin designs symbolized hope and progress. The portrait of Thomas Jefferson was chosen to honor one of the nation's founding fathers and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. The reverse displays Monticello, Jefferson's magnificent estate, carefully engraved with remarkable architectural detail. Millions of Americans carried these nickels every day, unaware that well-preserved examples would someday become prize collectors' items. Coins with brilliant original luster, sharp details, and no signs where can command premiums far above their face value. The second Jefferson nickel tells a different story. During the years of World War II, the United States needed nickel metal for military equipment. As a result, the composition of certain Jefferson nickels changed dramatically. Instead of the traditional alloy, these special wartime nickels contained silver, copper, and manganese. They were easily identified by a large mint mark placed above Monticello on the reverse. These silver wartime nickels remain some of the most popular coins in American numismatics because they combine historical significance with precious metal content. Collectors enjoy searching rolls and inherited collections in hopes of finding one of these remarkable wartime issues. The third coin in our collection demonstrates how mint marks can greatly influence value. Jefferson nickels were produced at several United States mint facilities, including Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Although many dates were produced in enormous quantities, others had much lower mintages. A coin struck at one mint may be worth only 5 cents, while the same year from another mint could be worth many dollars in excellent condition. Collectors pay close attention to mint marks because they reveal where a coin was produced and often determine its rarity. Careful examination with a magnifying glass can uncover valuable varieties that many people overlook. Our fourth Jefferson nickel highlights the exciting world of mint errors. Sometimes coins leave the mint with unexpected imperfections, such as double dies, off-center strikes, clip planchets, die cracks, or missing design elements. These errors are not considered damaged coins. Instead, they are genuine mistakes created during the minting process. Because such errors are uncommon, collectors often pay substantial amounts for dramatic examples. Every unusual Jefferson nickel has its own story, making error collecting one of the most exciting areas of modern numismatics. One reason the Jefferson nickel series remains so popular is its affordability. Unlike many rare gold or silver coins that cost thousands of dollars, most Jefferson nickels can still be collected at reasonable prices. Beginners often build complete date and mint collections by searching bankrolls, visiting coin shops, attending coin shows, or purchasing collections from other hobbyists. The thrill of discovering a scarce date or valuable error keeps collectors returning to hobby year after year. Condition plays a critical role in determining a Jefferson nickel's value. Coins graded in mint state condition often sell for much higher prices than circulated examples. Professional grading services carefully evaluate a coin's luster, strike quality, surface preservation, and eye appeal before assigning a numerical grade. Even a single point difference on the grading scale can significantly affect market value. That's why experienced collectors always handle coins carefully, holding them only by the edges and storing them in protective holders. Another fascinating aspect of Jefferson nickels is the variety of design changes over the decades. Although Thomas Jefferson has remained on the obverse, subtle modifications have been made to both sides of the coin. In 2004 and 2005, the United States Mint introduced the Westward Journey series, celebrating the Lewis and Clark expedition. These temporary designs feature the Peace Medal, the keel boat, the American bison, and the Pacific Ocean view before Monticello returned in 2006 with a refreshed design. These modern variations have added even more interest to the Jefferson Nickel series. Collectors also enjoy searching for full steps Jefferson Nickels. On well-struck coins, the steps leading to the entrance of Monticello appear complete and uninterrupted. Because many coins were weakly struck or suffered contact marks during production, examples with fully visible steps are much scarcer. Certified full steps nickels often command impressive premiums at auction, especially for difficult dates and mint combinations. The Jefferson Nickel continues to circulate throughout the United States today, making it one of the few classic coin series that anyone can still find in everyday change. Every trip to the grocery store, gas station, or vending machine presents another opportunity to discover an overlooked treasure. While most nickels remain worth only 5 cents, a careful collector understands that knowledge is the key to recognizing hidden value. Step 1 today, we are exploring one of the most fascinating coins in American numismatic history, the 1941 Jefferson Nickel, a 5-cent coin of the United States of America that has become a favorite among collectors because of its rich history, beautiful design, and surprising collectible value. At first glance, the 1941 Jefferson Nickel may appear to be an ordinary 5-cent coin, but behind its simple appearance lies an incredible story connected to American history, the years leading into World War II, and the remarkable craftsmanship of the United States Mint. Introduced only 3 years earlier in 1938, the Jefferson Nickel replaced the famous Buffalo nickel and featured a completely new design created by sculptor Felix Schlag. The obverse displays a detailed portrait of Thomas Jefferson, the third President of the United States and the principal author of the Declaration of Independence. Jefferson's calm expression symbolizes wisdom, leadership, and the democratic ideals upon which the nation was founded. On the reverse is Jefferson's historic home, Monticello, located in Virginia, a masterpiece of architecture that reflects Jefferson's passion for design and classical learning. The coin carries the inscriptions E Pluribus Unum, United States of America, Monticello, 5 cents, and In God We Trust, making it one of the most recognizable American coins ever produced. The 1941 Jefferson Nickel was struck at 3 different United States mint facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. Coins from Philadelphia have no mint mark, while the Denver issue bears a D mint mark and the San Francisco issue carries an S. Together, these mints produce hundreds of millions of nickels to meet the growing demand of an expanding American economy. The coin was struck in an alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel, weighed exactly 5 grams, measured 21.2 millimeters in diameter, and featured a plain edge. These specifications remained standard until the United States temporarily changed the composition during World War II, because nickel became a critical strategic metal needed for military equipment and armor production. This makes the 1941 Jefferson Nickel especially important because it represents the final full year before the famous wartime silver alloy nickels were introduced in 1942. Collectors often consider the 1941 issue an important bridge between classic pre-war era and emergency wartime coinage. Although millions were minted and circulated across the country, finding high-grade examples with full original mint luster and sharply struck details has become increasingly difficult over the decades. Coins that survive with little or no circulation often command impressive premiums, particularly those certified by professional grading services in mint state grades. One of the most sought-after characteristics is the full steps designation, awarded to coins that display complete and uninterrupted steps leading up to Monticello. Because many nickels were weakly struck, examples with fully visible steps are significantly rarer and much more valuable than ordinary pieces. Some exceptional full step specimens have sold for hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction, depending on their condition and rarity. Collectors also search for die cracks, double dies, repunch mint marks, off-center strikes, clip planchets, and other mint errors that can dramatically increase the value of a 1941 Jefferson Nickel. These unusual varieties provide fascinating insight into the minting process and demonstrate how even small production mistakes can create highly collectible coins. Beyond its monetary value, the 1941 Jefferson Nickel serves as a tangible reminder of a pivotal moment in American history, standing on the threshold of dramatic global events that would soon reshape the nation and the world. Every surviving coin carries with it decades of history, having passed through countless hands, witnessed changing generations, and remain a lasting symbol of American commerce and craftsmanship. Step to the 1944. P. Jefferson Nickel is one of the most fascinating coins ever produced by the United States Mint, representing both American history and the urgent demands of World War II. At first glance, it appears to be an ordinary 5-cent coin, but behind its simple design lies a remarkable story of innovation, sacrifice, and national determination. During the war, nickel became an essential strategic metal used in military equipment, armor plating, aircraft engines, and countless other wartime applications. To conserve this valuable resource, the United States Mint introduced a special wartime composition for Jefferson nickels beginning in late 1942. Instead of the traditional alloy, the 1944 P. Jefferson Nickel was struck using an alloy consisting of 35% silver, 56% copper, and 9% manganese. This unique metal composition makes the coin unlike most other Jefferson nickels and has made it a favorite among collectors. The P mint mark on the reverse above Monticello was especially significant because 1942 marked the first time in American history that the Philadelphia Mint placed its mint mark on a circulating U.S. coin. This large mint mark allowed the government to easily identify and later remove the silver wartime nickels from circulation if necessary. The coin was designed by Felix Schlag, whose portrait of Thomas Jefferson appears on the obverse, while Jefferson's beloved home, Monticello, is displayed on the reverse. Schlag's elegant design won a national competition and has become one of the longest-running coin designs in American history. The obverse features Jefferson facing left with the inscriptions, "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the date 1944, while the reverse displays Monticello with the inscriptions, "E Pluribus Unum," United States of America, 5 cents, and the prominent P mint mark above the building. The coin measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, weighs exactly 5 grams, and has a plain edge. In 1944, the Philadelphia Mint produced more than 119 million examples, ensuring there would be enough 5-cent coins to meet the needs of Americans during wartime. Despite this large mintage, high-grade examples with sharp details and beautiful original luster remain highly desirable among collectors today. Many circulated heavily during the war years, making pristine examples much scarcer than the original production numbers might suggest. Collectors particularly seek coins displaying full steps on Monticello, a feature indicating an exceptionally strong strike. Coins with 5 or 6 complete steps are considerably rarer and often command substantial premiums in the numismatic marketplace. Another reason in 1944 P. Jefferson Nickel remains so popular is its silver content. Although the amount of silver is relatively modest, it distinguishes the coin from regular Jefferson nickels and gives it additional intrinsic value. Throughout the decades, countless Americans unknowingly spent these silver nickels in everyday transactions, unaware they contained precious metal. As silver prices increased, many wartime nickels disappeared from circulation, being saved by collectors and investors alike. Today, finding one in pocket change is increasingly uncommon, making accidental discoveries especially exciting. Error coins from 1944 also attract considerable attention. Off-center strikes, double dies, clip planchets, die cracks, and repunch mint marks are among the varieties that specialists eagerly search for. Depending on rarity and condition, these errors can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Condition remains the most important factor affecting value. Worn examples generally remain affordable and are ideal for beginning collectors, while brilliant uncirculated coins with exceptional eye appeal can command impressive prices. Professional grading services such as PCGS and NGC authenticate and grade these coins, providing buyers and sellers with confidence regarding authenticity and preservation. Collectors often assemble complete wartime nickel sets containing all silver issues from 1942 through 1945, with the 1944 P serving as one of the centerpiece coins. The historical importance of these nickels extends beyond their collectible value because they symbolize America's industrial strength during one of the most challenging periods in world history. Every 1944, P. Jefferson Nickel tells a story of factories working around the clock, soldiers serving overseas, and ordinary citizens contributing to the war effort through conservation and sacrifice. Even today, holding one of these coins creates a tangible connection to that extraordinary era. As interest in U.S. coins continues to grow, the 1944 P. Jefferson Nickel remains an outstanding choice for collectors of every experience level. Its unique wartime composition, historical significance, distinctive mint mark, silver content, beautiful design, and potential for valuable varieties ensure its lasting popularity. Whether discovered in an old family collection, purchased from a coin dealer, or inherited from a relative, this remarkable 5-cent coin continues to remind us that even the smallest pieces of everyday currency can preserve some of the greatest stories in American history. Step 3. Jefferson Nickel 5-cent 1961. Imagine holding a small 5-cent coin that quietly traveled through one of the most transformative decades in American history, passing from grocery stores to diners, from family cash registers to neighborhood banks, never revealing that decades later, it would become a fascinating collectible admired by numismatists across the country. The 1961 Jefferson Nickel was struck during a period when the United States was experiencing rapid economic expansion, technological progress, and growing public confidence. While millions of Americans viewed it as ordinary change, every example leaving the mint carried remarkable craftsmanship and a lasting connection to the nation's history. Composed of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the coin weighs 5 grams and measures 21.2 millimeters in diameter, making it instantly recognizable to generations of Americans. The obverse displays a dignified portrait of President Thomas Jefferson, designed by Felix Schlag, while the reverse proudly features Monticello, Jefferson's Astoria, Virginia estate, presented with careful architectural detail that rewards close examination. What once seemed like an everyday coin has gradually become an object of curiosity because surviving examples reveal different levels of preservation, striking quality, and historical character that continue to inspire collectors decades after they first entered circulation. As production began in 1961, the United States Mint focused on creating enormous quantities of nickels to satisfy the demands of a growing economy where cash transactions dominated everyday life. Coins were produced at the Philadelphia Mint, identified by the absence of mint mark, and at the Denver Mint, recognized by the small D mint mark to the right of Monticello on the reverse. Although the total mintage reached hundreds of millions, each mint developed subtle differences that specialists enjoy comparing today. Slight variations in strike sharpness, luster, and dye were naturally occurred throughout production, giving observant collectors countless opportunities to study individual pieces. The fascinating reality is that no two dies age in exactly the same way, meaning tiny distinctions in lettering, design, sharpness, and surface texture emerged as the year progressed. These differences do not automatically create rarity, but they contribute to the historical personality of individual coins and encourage collectors to look beyond simple dates and mint marks. Looking closely at a well-preserved 1961 Jefferson Nickel reveals details that often escaped attention during its years in circulation. Jefferson's hair should display fine texture, the lettering should appear crisp, and the rim should remain full and even around the entire coin. On the reverse, Monticello becomes a centerpiece of careful study because experienced collectors frequently evaluate the building's architectural definition, especially the famous steps beneath the entrance. Coins displaying sharply defined full steps attract considerable interest because complete step detail is difficult to preserve through both striking and circulation. Even among coins struck from the same mint, the strength of the strike can vary depending on die condition and production circumstances. As a result, examining lighting, surface reflectivity, and small design elements can become an educational experience that transforms an ordinary-looking nickel into a remarkable historical artifact worthy of careful appreciation. As the decades pass, countless 1961 Jefferson Nickels experienced the natural effects of commerce. They rattled inside cash drawers, jingled in pockets, rolled across countertops, and disappeared into vending machines before eventually becoming worn through years of daily use. This extensive circulation explains why sharply preserved examples are much less common, than original production numbers might suggest. Many surviving coins display softened design details, contact marks, scratches, or dull surfaces that tell the story of their long working lives. Others remain safely stored in original rolls, bank vaults, or private collections, allowing much of their original mint luster to survive. That contrast between heavily circulated examples and carefully preserved specimens creates much of the excitement surrounding the series today, because condition plays an essential role in how collectors evaluate individual coins without changing the historical importance shared by every surviving piece. Beyond normal circulation pieces, the possibility of genuine mint errors adds another layer of excitement to the 1961 Jefferson Nickel. Collectors occasionally search for double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, clipped planchets, lamination flaws, repunched mint marks on Denver issues, or other unusual production anomalies that occur during the minting process. Such discoveries are uncommon, and many coins that appear unusual ultimately prove to be damage acquired after leaving the mint rather than authentic mint errors. For that reason, experienced collectors recommend studying known varieties carefully before reaching conclusions. Examining the coin's weight, metal appearance, strike alignment, rim integrity, lettering style, and overall consistency can help identify features deserving closer investigation. Professional authentication and grading remain valuable whenever a coin appears to possess unusual characteristics, because independent expert evaluation provides confidence that observations are based on established numismatic standards rather than hopeful assumptions. Collector discussions frequently include questions about value, but the answer is rarely simple because several important factors determine market interest. Most circulated 1961 Jefferson nickels remain affordable and are appreciated primarily for their historical significance rather than extraordinary prices. However, authenticated mint state examples with exceptional eye appeal, strong original luster, minimal marks, and especially full steps designation may attract noticeably greater collector attention. Likewise, verified mint error examples can generate significant interest when the error is genuine, visually distinctive, and professionally authenticated. Depending on rarity, certified grade, collector demand, auction participation, and overall market conditions, some outstanding specimens have achieved impressive results through auctions or private sales. Stamp, last Jefferson nickel 5-cent 1962. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than an ordinary 5-cent coin that quietly passed from one American hand to another. But the story hidden inside this small piece of metal is far more intriguing than its modest appearance suggests. Struck during the early 1960s, this Jefferson nickel represents a nation experiencing technological progress, economic confidence, and dramatic social change, while millions of everyday transactions depended on coins just like this one. Few people stop to admire the careful portrait of Thomas Jefferson or the elegant image of Monticello. Yet each nickel leaving the mint carried remarkable craftsmanship designed to survive years of circulation. Today, collectors often wonder how many untouched examples escape decades of wear, and that simple question transforms an ordinary circulation coin into an exciting historical artifact waiting to reveal its journey. Every scratch, every softened detail, and every untouched surface tells part of the story that began the moment the coin rolled from minting presses more than 60 years ago, making the 1962 Jefferson nickel an unexpectedly fascinating chapter in American numismatic history. Unlike many earlier American coins associated with wartime shortages or major design changes, the 1962 Jefferson nickel continued a familiar tradition while quietly reflecting precision of the United States Mint. Produced in a durable alloy of 75% copper and 25% nickel, the coin weighs approximately 5 grams and measures about 21.2 millimeters in diameter. Most examples were struck at the Philadelphia Mint without a mint mark, while others came from the Denver Mint carrying a small D mint mark beside Monticello on the reverse. Although millions entered circulation, no two surviving coins have experienced exactly the same journey. Some remain tucked away inside original bankrolls, family collections, or forgotten drawers, while others travel through countless stores, restaurants, vending machines, and cash registers before eventually finding their way into collectors' albums decades later. That contrast between heavy circulation and careful preservation creates much of the fascination surrounding this issue today. Looking closely at the coin reveals details that many people overlook during everyday use. Jefferson's profile displays finely sculpted facial features, neatly tied hair, and carefully engraved lettering that reflects the artistic vision of designer Felix Schlag. Turning the coin over reveals Monticello with balanced architectural symmetry, crisp columns, and carefully spaced inscriptions that reward patient observation under good lighting. Collectors often examine how sharply these details were struck, because stronger strikes preserve finer design elements, especially around the building and lettering. Small differences in rim quality, spacing, strike strength, and surface texture can transform two seemingly identical nickels into very different collectibles. Even subtle characteristics become important when comparing examples that have survived decades of handling, making close observation one of the most rewarding parts of collecting Jefferson nickels. As time passed, circulation naturally affected the appearance of most 1962 Jefferson nickels. Repeated contact with other coins gradually softened Jefferson's portrait, reduced the sharpness of Monticello, and created tiny marks across the fields. Yet some coins escaped this every day were almost entirely, preserving bright mint luster that still reflects light much as it did when newly struck. Collectors especially appreciate examples displaying strong original surfaces without excessive cleaning or environmental damage, because untouched preservation often tells a more authentic story than artificially polished pieces. Some enthusiasts also search for interesting mint-made varieties or production anomalies, including double design elements, off-center strikes, die cracks, clip planchets, or unusual strike characteristics. While genuine mint errors are uncommon, properly authenticated examples naturally receive additional attention because they represent unusual moments during the minting process rather than ordinary production. The excitement surrounding the 1962 Jefferson nickel becomes even greater when collectors begin comparing grades and preservation quality. A circulated example with honest, where it usually remains affordable and serves as an enjoyable historical keepsake, while sharply struck mint state examples displaying original luster often generate much stronger interest. Specialists may also evaluate whether Monticello shows exceptionally complete stair details, since stronger strikes are generally more desirable among advanced Jefferson nickel collectors. High-grade certified coins are considerably scarcer than ordinary circulated examples because relatively few survive decades without significant contact marks. This gradual narrowing of supply explains why certain pieces receive closer examination whenever they appear in reputable collections, auctions, or dealer inventories. Naturally, conversations eventually turn toward value, but experienced collectors understand that realistic expectations are essential. Market prices constantly change according to collector demand, certified grade, eye appeal, verified mint characteristics, and overall rarity. Most circulated 1962 Jefferson nickels trade for modest amounts above face value, while attractive uncirculated examples may command noticeably higher prices depending on quality. Authenticated high-grade specimens or verified mint error coins sometimes attract especially strong collector attention and, in rare cases, reach significant auction or private sale values. Even so, these figures are only estimates drawn from collector discussions, auction records, and observed market activity at a particular point in time. They should never be viewed as guarantees of future value or certain financial return, because every transaction depends on the specific coin and current market conditions. Anyone exploring a possible collectible example should examine the coin carefully before reaching conclusions. Begin by checking the correct weight, the expected copper-nickel appearance, the overall strike alignment, the condition of the rim, and the clarity of the lettering on both sides. Compare any unusual features with reliable reference materials to determine whether they are genuine mint characteristics rather than damage acquired after circulation.